Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar today. I hope you're enjoying the nice sunny weather. At least I am here at Los Angeles. I am Akhil this side. So yeah, welcome to the webinar. As you know, the webinar is about upgrade to Sitecore 9.1 and why is it the best decision of 2019. Let us begin the webinar. Quick introduction about the speakers. This is Akhil Mittal this side. I am the Vice President of Digital Solutions team here at Altudo. Overall, over 15 years of experience into digital industry, working with marketing and technology leaders across different industries. Throughout this, from financial services to manufacturing, from education to nonprofits, and high-tech technology, multiple verticals there. And with me, I have the pleasure to have Jenna with us on the call. Jenna, over to you for a quick intro.
Thank you, Akhil. Hi, everyone. This is Jaina Baumgartner. Uh, I am a Sitecore MVP that I was awarded this year in 2019. Um, I have worked on both sides of the fence, client and consultant side. I have over 15 years of experience with websites and a variety of CMSs, but over 8 years of experience with Sitecore specifically. I oversee the digital solutioning group at Altudo, basically listening to business problems and coming up with solutions, as well as coming up with new IP. And I'm super excited to showcase some of that IP to you guys today. Thank you, Akhil. Over to you.
Awesome, Jenna. Thank you. So yeah, with that, let us begin the webinar from where we are. Quick agenda, what are we going to talk about? So to simplify it, we have divided the webinar into three sections. First, we will talk about why should you even consider to upgrade to the latest version of Sitecore? What all you should consider for an upgrade, and how is the details as to how you can plan and how do you execute that upgrade. Awesome. So before we begin, a very quick introduction as to who we are as an organization or why you should even listen to us. So as a company, Altudo, we are one of the most mature Sitecore services partners with over 400 employees in 5 countries. We strongly believe in an inch wide and a mile deep philosophy. We are partners with them since 2003, have got 6 MVPs, 200 plus developers. So numbers are there, but the most interesting part, the most useful part, it is that we invest a lot in intellectual property around Sitecore, and that's where one of those intellectual properties is what Jenna is going to talk about today. Excellent. I don't want to bore you guys with any salesy presentations. Here before we start, just a quick poll for all of us on the call. Let me just pull the poll up for you. Here you go. Poll is open, so we'll take a couple of seconds for all of you. So which versions are you right now? Yeah, should be easy, I guess. Quick. Okay, let me go back. Go back. Close. I'm closing the poll, everyone. Thank you. So yeah, back to my screen. So let's get into the meat of the matter. First and most important aspect of an upgrade, why we should even consider doing it. There are two aspects of it. Let's start with the most obvious one, which I call the reactive approach. We talk about the technology obsolescence. So definitely there are issues when we talk about the support from Sitecore. We talk about compatibility with different browsers as well as the operating system on which the Sitecore is installed. uh, I'm sure all of you must have seen this. Just a quick recap. Sitecore always publishes its support metrics. Here's the link if you have not seen it before. So what we should know, if you are on version 8.1 or below, you're already out of mainstream support. So no thoughts. And again, these different kinds of support levels These are terminologies by Sitecore. You must have known it, but I always suggest all of my friends, my clients, that you should consider to be within the mainstream support. Don't wait to be under the extended support part. So if I consider the mainstream support, if you are below 8.1, you are already at a point in time where you should upgrade right now. Don't even think about it. If you are in 8.2, still have time till December of this year, but that's one thing you should start planning right now so that you are upgraded to the next level by December this year. Here is a quick glimpse again. This is the link which Sitecore publishes about the compatibility with various browsers. We see browsers are getting updated, so you have to upgrade for the best user experience for your customers. So again, related to operating system support, these are the matrices published by Sitecore. So from a technology perspective, you have to keep up to date. No second thought about it. But yeah, again, as I said, that was a more reactive approach. If you're upgrading for a technology obsolescence reason, that means you are taking a reactive approach. What I call a more proactive reason for an upgrade is really that you want to utilize the true potential of your Sitecore investment. That's really the matter where we all want to focus rather than talk about being obsolete in technology. I'll just take two key reasons here rather than talking about features, functionalities. I say two key reasons. Are you using Sitecore just like a CMS? If that's so, the typical thing or question I hear from my fellow marketers or digital systems people, they say content authors are saying Sitecore is difficult to use, this is expensive. Why do we actually use Sitecore? Why can't we move over to something like a WordPress? That's a big question, and it always arises if we are using Sitecore just like a plain CMS solution. Believe me, it's like you have bought a Ferrari, you invested so much in a Ferrari, and you are driving it like a Pinto. I don't think anyone of us will want to invest so much money in a Ferrari and drive it like a Pinto. I don't think any one of us will want. That's what we really want to focus on. Second important aspect here is that I see a lot of places we're not able to leverage the ecosystem we have. When I talk about ecosystem, as a marketer, as a digital guy, we'll have systems such as marketing automation system, we'll have CRM, we have analytics in place. If all that is not integrated, if we don't have a single view of the customer, if we are not getting an omni-channel view of the customer, uh, the end result, we are not really driving an engagement with our end client, which is where we miss out as a marketer. I hear these terms from especially B2B clients or people in say manufacturing. They say we are not an e-commerce company, so why should we even worry about generating leads? When I hear that from marketers, believe me, I am shattered. They said, every CMO with whom I talk to today, when they say what's your prime KPI, believe me, it's all about generating qualified leads for the organization. It's all about getting that business uplift for their organization. If you as marketer is not focused on driving that business uplift for the organization, I'm sorry, maybe then we are in the wrong discussion overall. So it's all about, when we talk about using Sitecore, we have to leverage it to fulfill that dream, to fulfill its whole purpose. We can't just use it like a WordPress to display and manage content for the website. Okay, enough of talk from me. Let me hear a quick feedback about how you are currently using it. So let's launching a quick poll here. Let's see. Thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Few more seconds. Just be honest. I'm not going to display your name and say this is what you wrote. So be honest. and it always helps when we know where we stand today. So that helps us to improve. Perfect. So let me close the poll. Move forward. Think few more seconds. Done. Okay. Close. So Sitecore 9.1. All of us must have heard. I don't know if any one of you visited the symposium last year, 2018. That's where there was a lot of talks about 9.1. If you have not seen it, you can always get reference from Sitecore's website. There is a whole list of what features, functionalities have been introduced. And so on. If you want, even after this, I can email you the entire list. But I don't want to talk about whole list of functionalities. It's all about what can it do for me if I want to fulfill that dream I spoke to you about business uplift. What can 9.1, how can 9.1 help me in that vision? I'll say three essential things. I'll not talk about 10 different features. I'll say three essential themes that 9.1 is catering to. First, foremost, it's talking about cognitive computing. For a long, long time, we as marketers, we as digital guys, we had been using advanced analytics. It's not something new. All of us see people like Amazon leading this race where they use cognitive computing to do next best action analysis, to predict what should be the next content to show to the customer, and so on. The issue was we don't have bandwidth or we don't have budget to maintain a whole team of data scientists, right? As marketers, we can't manage that kind of a team, what probably an Amazon or an Airbnb can do today. So here comes Sitecore. It has got introduced the entire platform around cognitive computing. I'm not going to discuss the entire details here, but it's something which you need to see as a roadmap going forward. That's really going to change the way we are selling or the way we are projecting our website to our customers. So one important breakthrough I will say introduced in 9.1. Second, it's all about integration. Sitecore has always realized that it cannot operate like a monolithic Martech system. We always use so many systems around. So here, a lot of things that Sitecore has introduced, whether it's the Sitecore Connect, the Universal Tracker, the entire agenda is how well can we utilize the ecosystem around Sitecore, whether it's the marketing automation system, whether it is the mobility devices, the IoT, whatnot, but how well can we connect my customer information across these systems and then get actionable insights. So that's their Sitecore has really done a fantastic job, I'll say, in terms of enabling or making those integrations much easier. Last not the least, I'll say it's all about decoupling. Right now we were talking about integrating. I'll say it's all about decoupling when we move forward. So we as marketers, we as technologists, we want our to use choice of our what we want to do, right? We don't want to follow what these product vendors say us to do, and that's where this entire discussion around headless CMS or around decoupling comes in. So Sitecore was talking about it for a long time. Version 6 onwards, if I'm not wrong, they were talking about headless CMS as a concept. But this version 9.1, they've really made it way easy. They have made that entire vision of decoupled rendering a truth. So this is really something you need to watch for, and this is something which most of us are going to use as soon as now. We don't have to wait forever. So if we have got mobile apps, we have got IoT devices, we have got commerce, we have got numerous applications which we are where we want to render the content from Sitecore. This is the time when we can do it. Now, not taking too much time. I get passionate and get in the flow sometimes. Pardon me for that. So Sitecore 8, in case any one of you who is still on versions below 8, say version 7, 6, and so on, you have missed a lot in version 8. It was, in fact, I will say one of the most breakthrough versions that Sitecores introduced ever. So, couple of quick things. What you have missed there, experience editor. It's like for content author or content or editors, this is like this makes their life way easy. If you do not use experience editor, it's the first thing. Just after the webinar, first thing you have to do is use experience editor. It will make your content editor's life super easy. You must have heard about predictive personalization, path analyzer, and engagement analytics. Version 8, 8.2 were really the marquee versions in terms of introducing those concepts, in terms of taking them to a next level. Sitecore Experience Accelerator, it's kind of a library of reusable widgets that Sitecore introduced. If you stick to the entire frame of schemes there with SXA, you can actually do things in days and weeks rather than waiting for months. So really useful library again there by Sitecore introduced there. And Federating Experience Manager, especially for us who use multiple websites and have websites even outside of Sitecore. Say you have got blogs which are running in WordPress, you have got other websites which are running in some other CMS, say Drupal as well. You've got multiple brands and you have acquired companies, but you want to track everything in one single dashboard. FXM really is quite useful, though it does too many lot of other things, but it's really about getting that view of your end customer at one place. Let me be quick here. I can see I'm running behind time. So in terms of what all is involved during an upgrade, if I have to talk that way, I'll say the classic three-phase model. It's my favorite. Always love to divide it into three key phases. First one is about planning and risk assessment. Believe me, a lot of times I've seen people bypassing this or cutting corners in this. But if we do it, upgrade, it's per se, it's not rocket science. But if anything goes wrong, any place we are stuck, I've seen so many instances where we have to just roll it back completely. We can't do anything, we can't figure out why things are not working, we have to roll it back, which is a lot more painful. So really important to do a thorough risk assessment. What all can happen during the upgrade, we have to predict that in advance, and then have the right mitigation steps noted down, um, and agreed before we start to it. I'll just talk few more about this one, Karin. How do we execute in testing? I'll leave that entire part to Jenna when she goes on the how part. And then last not the least, it's all about planning for the future. So as I said, you have invested so much in Sitecore, then you have to really leverage that and move to the next step. You have to use its marketing capabilities, you have to use its personalization power, you have to use its analytics power, and so on. So there has to be planning about the next steps right now. Don't wait that we'll do it in phase two of the project and so on. uh, in more than 80% of the cases, I've never seen that phase two happening. So that's why I always say in phase one, plan for it. As I said, on the risk assessment side, there are a lot of items which we have to be reviewed. An experienced architect, somebody like Jenna, or a really cyber expert has to undergo that entire exercise of risk assessment. But some of the most common items we see, I just thought we'll note it down for you here. First and foremost, custom pipelines, deprecated assemblies have to take care of it. If you have difference, sometimes you're seeing difference between CM and CD, stands again has to be noted in the risk assessment part. Integrations always raise an alarm. We never know what integrations will work post upgrade, what will not. So have to be documented. A lot of different vendors whose applications we are using, will that work with 9.1 or not? We have to assess that beforehand. Additional modules, even sometimes modules by Sitecore, they give trouble after upgrade. If you're using, for example, forms, you're using a web form for marketers, were my favorite before. If you are going to upgrade to 9.1 and still using WFFM, you'll have to upgrade it to Sitecore forms. So should you upgrade or not upgrade? What's the cost and so on for that? Such important piece. If you're using Lucene, big alarm, big alert there. So that's one piece we have to thoroughly assess before we upgrade. Last not the least, content freeze. Very important, everyone. Very important. A lot of times we talk about technology, We make plans, we do everything, but we miss the most critical piece, that is our content authors. We are and our business guys. If we don't freeze the if we don't provide them a content freeze phase, we have seen projects where we have done everything has gone to UAT phase, but we want say a 4 day of content freeze, and the business team says no, we have got an important campaign running, we cannot give you content freeze for next 2 months. Entire effort literally gone waste because we cannot do anything. So this thing has to be planned beforehand. It has to be put, it's to the level where we block people's calendar and say tentatively these are the dates when we will need content freeze for the project. Quick FAQs. I'll just take another 5 minutes, I think. Quick FAQs that most of the times I hear from the customers during upgrade. What's a right time to migrate to cloud? So a lot of, if you are using, say you are running your Sitecore on an on-premise installation and so on, probably an upgrade is a good time when you can plan to migrate to cloud version. So upgrade is a good I'll say reason when you can plan that. How frequent? I'll say at least an upgrade in every 6 months. You should plan it out. So every 6 months you should plan out upgrade. That's the way I see it, but yeah, an architect can always suggest you better answer. Should we do in-house? My classic. So I'll have a bias answer here because we are a partner, but it all depends on how much experience your in-house team has in doing upgrades. Say every upgrade is different. If you have done upgrade from 7.2 to 8.1 and so on, all that experience definitely matters. But when it comes to say Sitecore 9.1, you need team who has done that before. You can't just start doing it and then wait anything to happen, because say 9.1 has got its own nuances when it comes to technology. So my answer here will be always at least take a partner in consideration for supervision, if not the entire execution. Should I talk to my rep? Of course, yes. Big yes. Before doing an upgrade, talk to them, understand will there be any implications with respect to your license? Is there something that Sitecore will charge you for an upgrade? And from a license perspective, will there be an impact, or do they have something that they can offer? So you should definitely at least have a quick chat with your Sitecore rep. No harm in doing that. Last slide from my end before I hand it over to Jenna. But it's really about, as I said, it's about using Sitecore within your ecosystem and then utilizing the entire MarTech stack you have. Here's an example what we built for a client. And this is built using Power BI, which that client had for free. If you are an Office 365 enterprise customer, most of us get that free of cost. So using that, we got a combined view of the customer, of their customers across not just Sitecore, but they were using Google Analytics. So a lot of this important data that comes in from Google Analytics, as well as their email automation tools, social and account-based marketing. So all that into single set of dashboard, that really helps. And believe me, it's not difficult. It's just a matter of couple of weeks, and you have this beautiful view where you can drill down and really get useful insights and actionable insights. How do you want to act? So whether you're running email campaigns, what content is working for you, what is not, how is your social media campaigns impacting your uplift, how are your KPIs getting tracked? So all that data at one place really helps, rather than viewing 10 different PowerPoints as reports. You get one single dashboard, and then you could drill down and take some actions on top of it. So yeah, time for last poll before we jump onto the real nitty-gritties of how do we do it. Let me just launch it quickly so you see this poll on your screen. Go ahead. Go ahead. Perfect. Jenna, I'll be handing it over to you after this one. So get ready on your system. That ways. Okay, let me just close the poll. Thank you. Here we go. move to the how part. And here you go, Jenna. Now we see your screen, Jenna.
Yeah?
It's coming up.
Not yet. All
Not
right.
yet. Yeah. Yes, now we can.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Akhil. Oh, I think I started it from the beginning. Whoops. Sorry. Here we go.
I've bored everyone enough, so don't want to see
You
the
don't
same
want to
slides
start from the
again.
beginning
Yeah.
again? All right. Okay, so I will talk about how do you upgrade? What's the process to upgrade? So the approach that we look at to upgrade to 9, there are two options. You can either build a whole new environment and then migrate your code and content into that environment, or you can do an in-place upgrade. So let me discuss both of these upgrades in detail. So we'll go into building the environment and migrating your code and content. What does that look like? So in your local environment, you will stand up Sitecore 9.1, and then you will install basically the upgraded versions of any third-party modules. This is really important. If you guys have third-party modules on your site, you want to work with the vendors, look on the community, and ensure that you have that there is an upgraded version of that module. If there isn't, you may have to build that functionality from scratch. So this is another risk point to keep in mind. Upgrade all the references in your code to latest Sitecore versions. Then if you're using Lucene, like Akhil mentioned, you want to change over to Solar or Azure. WFFM is no longer supported in 9.1, so you'll have to look at going to the equivalent counterpart, Sitecore Forms, which means that you have to redo all of your WFFMs in Sitecore 9 forms. In your local environment, compile and debug your code, deploy your solution, deploy your master and core databases. In the best case scenario, if you're able to get a long code and content freeze, the best case scenario would be just replicate production right now, because that will make your deployment process very easy, moving from one environment to the other. If not, when you're ready to go to production, you'll have to merge your content. And then you'll most probably at this point try to run it, and you'll find a bunch of a bunch of runtime errors, and you'll just have to go through one by one and fix them. Hopefully not a lot if you followed several of these processes, but there could be outdated assemblies, conflicts with assemblies, etc. that might be specific to your environment, and you'll have to fix those as well. In terms of the higher environments, once you've done the local environment, the process will be building out that environment, deploying your code and content in that environment. And then the good news is that once you've done it in one environment, you just have to perform the same stuff in the other environments, because most of your errors at this point should be sorted out. Um, you may find some minor issues because as you move higher, the separation of duties will occur between CMS and CD, so you'll find some of those issues. And then, of course, testing it in each of your higher environments. Sorry. Now, moving to production, if you haven't already, at this point, you do have to have a content freeze and a code freeze. The process is the same for production as any of the non-prod environments, but at this point, you'll also have to merge your content between the two, between your old production content and your new content, and then test everything. Preferably, all of this has to be built on a separate server. So when you're ready, when you've tested, when you're ready to go, you'll do a DNS switch, and your new environment will become your production environment. So when do you go with approach one? Here are a few guidelines on how to pick approach one versus approach two. So first of all, are you running your production instance on Windows Server 2012 R2 or below? Because those are not supported with Sitecore 9.1, so an in-place upgrade is not going to work for you. You're going to have to build a new environment. If you're considering moving to Sitecore Cloud or changing up your environment anyways, this is the right approach to go through. If you're migrating from any version of Sitecore that's lower than Sitecore 8, um, if you have a good inventory of all of your changes made in your environment and third-party modules installed, because in this case, you do have to install all of the differences between default Sitecore and your version of Sitecore, so you need to know what those differences are. And this is really good if you have the ability to instill that longer code and content freeze. You do have to spin up additional Sitecore servers, right? Because you're not doing an in-place upgrade. You're standing up 2 instances and then migrating things. Especially if you don't have that longer code freeze process, you're going to have to be able to use your regular deployment process through your environments. You're going to have basically 2 parallel environments stood up during the upgrade process. So if you have a subscription license with Sitecore, this approach will work for you because you'll need the ability to spin up additional servers. Now, if you don't have any of these, you may want to look at approach 2 instead. How can we help with this approach? Altudo has Selenium automation tool. So basically, we've automated scripts in Selenium for all of the CM activities. So that includes logging into Sitecore, ensuring forms works, ensuring content editor works, experience editor, all of the functionalities within Sitecore. We go through and make sure that all of that works. And we do offer services to basically automate your test process. Obviously, we're willing to take on your entire, or we want to take on your entire upgrade process, but here are a few things that we've already done for several of our clients. And we offer, we've already automated the Selenium test suite for CM activities, and I'll show you an example of that. Now for approach 2, which is an in-place upgrade, I'm going to go through the same steps in terms of what this looks like. So the first piece in the local build, we have an auto V upgrade tool that automates all of the activities that are manual with Sitecore. So it uses Sitecore's upgrade tool in the back end, but also automates any activities that are manual. And I'll show you a demo of this tool as well. There may be errors that the tool will report. It will report any discrepancies with DLLs, etc. So basically, it's a one spot to get all of the errors that may occur as you're upgrading. And that way you can go through errors, rectify what's needed, and document it. And then, of course, you'll have to test it. In higher environments, the good news is once you've done it in lower environments, you just have to do the same thing in your higher environments. Run the tool in each environment. At this point, hopefully you've documented what you've done to ensure those errors no longer occur. Some may be configuration issues. Some might be code issues. For the code issues, you should be able to just deploy your code and fix it. But for the configuration issues, of course, you'll have to do it in each environment. So if you document those steps, you can just take those steps and then once again test it. For moving to production, because it's an in-place upgrade, you do not need a code or content freeze any earlier. This is a good point to have a code and content freeze. Even if you're doing an in-place upgrade, it's still a good idea to replicate your production environment to ensure that there's no downtime. Follow the same process with your upgrade tool and then document, just basically remove all the errors with the documented steps and then test again. So when do you go with approach 2 versus approach 1? If you're upgrading from Sitecore 8 or a later version to Sitecore 9.1, this will work great for you. Our tool is meant for Sitecore 8 to Sitecore 9.1 upgrades. If you have if you don't know what errors you might get, what tools you have installed, where you've touched the pipeline, etc., this is a good tool because the tool itself can report out these errors. If you have a shorter window for content or code freeze, because there is no need to merge that content between the two environments, all you have to do is follow the steps of the tool. This is a good place, again, to upgrade. This is a good approach to use to upgrade the tool. to upgrade Sitecore. If you have a perpetual license with Sitecore where you're restricted to a certain number of servers, with Approach 1, you'll have to have a parallel path of 2 server environments. With Approach 2, you won't need that. So this allows you to basically have that restricted number of servers. How can we help you? We will, so the first thing is the Auto V upgrade tool that I just talked about. And I'll show you a demo of that as well. And again, the Selenium automation comes into play that we've basically put in place to a suite of tests that tests all of your CM activities. That way you know that everything is working in your new CM environment, your new Sitecore environment after you upgrade. All right. So at this point, pros and cons, right? So pros and cons, approach 1 versus approach 2. The first few pros are with approach 1, you have the ability at this time to move, you're building a new environment anyways. So if you are going to move to the cloud or you have a need to build a newer environment, this is a good time to do it. And Approach 1 is a great way to basically build your new environment, move to the cloud, and upgrade Sitecore at the same time. So if you are going to build a new environment or you're considering moving to the cloud, please do that along with your upgrade and use Approach 1 to do it. The good news too is that it's very complex to use Approach 1 because you do have to migrate your code and content and ensure everything is working. However, those issues will only occur in one environment, and then you basically have all of that already configured in your environment, and it's just a matter of deploying it. So that makes Approach 1 easier in the higher environments. The con with Approach 1 is that you do need a longer content and code freeze because you do need to merge that content and code between the 2 environments. And then also it's a longer upgrade process because of the fact that you do have to create these new environments each time and then do these upgrades in each environment. Approach 2, the process is faster because it's using an automated tool and then identifying errors before you complete the upgrade. It has the ability to automatically find incompatibility and errors, so that way you don't have to know all of the things that you've built, all of the times you've touched the Sitecore's pipelines, all of the custom modules you've built. It will find it for you. It's a shorter content and code freeze period for the upgrade because it only needs to be done in production, and that should only be a few days in the process. The bad news is you have to follow the same steps in each environment. So there's nothing that, so as compared to Approach 1, where it's a longer process in the local environment, but then in the higher environments, it's just a matter of deploying your code and content. Potentially, it's part of your deployment process already. Whereas in Approach 2, you have to do the same steps every time, run the upgrade tool, figure out what errors occur, and then fix those errors. Here's a quick overview of our upgrade tool before I actually show it to you in a demo. We've done a lot of upgrades with our upgrade tool. We've been using this tool for a while now, from Sitecore 7 to 8, and then now we've upgraded the tool to basically go from Sitecore 8 to 9. We've upgraded several websites with this, and here's just an example of all of the websites we've used with the Sitecore upgrade tool. And we've seen 90% improvement in quality because the upgrade tool finds these errors automatically. And then on top of that, we have our Selenium test automation suite to find all of your content management errors. You're not waiting until production to find those errors. It's 75% lesser time compared to a manual upgrade. I mean, we're automating steps, so of course it's lesser time to upgrade. With lesser time, you have a lesser cost of upgrade. And then we also see lower bugs and issues, especially because we're automating steps. So you're removing all of the manual errors or issues that you might see throughout the process. All right, now on to the fun part, the demo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jenna, while you bring that up, just quick note to everyone. If you have questions, please feel free to type in here in the questions tab so that we can take that after the demo towards the end. Thanks, Jenna. Please, over to you.
yeah, no problem. All right, so here we have a Sitecore 8.1 instance, and we are going to, I'm going to skip through this, and we are going to upgrade this to Sitecore 9. So basically, here's the Sitecore 9 upgrade tool. You do have to provide it with this information, so your Sitecore root path, config path, URL, username and password, all of your Solar information, so you do have to have Solar installed before you use the upgrade tool, and then all of your data about SQL and where your core master web and analytics databases exist. Once you click on verify details, what this is going to do is it's basically going to go through each of the steps and just verify that it can access each of those environments, that it can go into Sitecore, it can reach Solar, it can reach SQL, etc. It's just going to go through and verify each of those. Once it verifies each of those, you can hit the proceed step. So it goes through each of these steps. The first step is performing a prereq check. So basically, it just makes sure that you have all of the prerequisites required for Sitecore 9.1 installed. So if we start this, so it checks your Sitecore version, Windows PowerShell, your Microsoft SQL version, etc. So you do need to have all of this for the upgrade tool to work. Again, this goes back to if you don't have this, if you don't have this already installed or are not using this, it might make sense to basically use approach 1 instead of approach 2. So it goes through and verifies this. The second step is restoring all of the marketing taxonomies and definitions. So it's going to restore these. The third step is basically performing all of the necessary config changes. So it's going to add all of the config changes that it needs for Sitecore 9.1. The fourth step in the process is executing scripts for the databases to basically upgrade them to Sitecore 9.1. Once it's done with that, the fifth step it will go through is actually doing the upgrade, the fun part. So once we start that, it's gonna add and upgrade the recommended packages and then perform the actual upgrade. So basically, if any one of these fails, instead of that little check mark, you're gonna get a cross, and in the summary box where it says that it's still in execution, it will actually tell you what the errors are and what you need to do to fix them. So then going on, once we've hit that upgrade, here we go into our Sitecore version, and we're in Sitecore 9 now. So it's that simple to upgrade, assuming you haven't done a whole lot with your environment. But if you have done a whole lot, again, the great news about this tool is it's going to find those errors for you and report it back to you. So you know what errors you're going to find, and you can go through and fix those errors. Then it will go through and do a post-upgrade check. So just make sure that if anything needs to be disabled, all of the server roles are specified. We've provided the right search provider and deprecated indexes. And then finally, it's just going to finalize it and roll back anything needed in the config file. So that's a high level on the upgrade tool, on our IP with the upgrade tool. The next thing I'm going to show you is basically our Selenium automation script. So this is just an example of one of the scripts that we've created for Selenium automation of our Sitecore environment. This is what you would run after the upgrade. We have the whole test suite here that will run and give you a report on what passed and what failed. But this specific script only looks at login. So that's what I'm going to use as the example for the demo. So basically, here's a quick Excel sheet of a few login user IDs and passwords. And once you run it, once you run the script, it's basically going to try and get into Sitecore with those user IDs and passwords. And some will be correct user IDs and passwords, some will be false. So it's just going to test that the login screen works, that you're actually, so your identity server works and you're actually able to log into Sitecore. Once you get into Sitecore, so once it does that, again, this is it, just executing the script, making sure that once you get into Sitecore, the features in Sitecore work. So here are a few different things. And then it shows you how many have failed, how many tests have run, and how many have succeeded within the box here. Here's the report that comes out from it. So it will show you for each of the tests. So basically, in this case, it's passed all of those tests. So it will show you all of the tests that it's run and all of the tests that it's passed or failed. And this report can quickly show you, so this is just for logging into Sitecore, but basically we have a test suite of all of the potential activities within Sitecore. So it will test forms, it will test content editor, it will test experience editor, it will test personalization, and just go through and make sure all of that is still working in Sitecore after your upgrade. All right.
Awesome.
Going back to, so in summary, real quick, is that okay, Akhil?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
All
go
right.
ahead. We have a couple of questions coming in.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, just a few minutes then. So in summary, the why for upgrade, compatibility, support, and marketing features, right? So compatibility and support are your reactive measures to upgrade, ensuring that you have these marketing features that will help you optimize your site. Are the proactive reasons to upgrade. So that includes headless, Cortex, Omni, all of these great things, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud integration, all of these great things that are now part of Sitecore 9.1. You can only get those features if you upgrade. What to keep in mind as you upgrade, the key phases of the process, your risk areas, and really just prepare for an upgrade, right? Prepare with your Sitecore rep, get an implementation partner, get these tools, ensure that you're ready for the upgrade. How do you upgrade? We have two approaches. You either can build a new environment and migrate, or you can do an in-place upgrade. How can we help you at Altudo? We have a few proprietary things that can help you with the upgrade that I demoed to you. So our Auto V upgrade tool for an in-place upgrade. Our Selenium scripts that will basically run through and make sure that your CM environment is set up correctly. Everything in Sitecore works after the upgrade. We can consult on the right path for the upgrade for you, and of course, take on your entire upgrade process for you and make it easier for you. After the upgrade, consider using all of the new features in Sitecore, right? So we can help consult with you to ensure that you're using all the features in Sitecore forms, personalization, Cortex, headless, etc. And then if you haven't already made the switch to Helix, making that switch to Helix or Sitecore Cloud, now is a good time to do it while you're doing the upgrade. All right, Akhil, that's all I have.
Perfect, perfect. We have a couple of questions. Let me take them first in, first out approach. We have questions from Sheetal. She is asking, what are the other integrations available other than Salesforce? So, Jenna, you want to take that both in terms of what's out of the box and what a partner like us can provide?
Yeah,
Integrations other than
absolutely.
Salesforce. Yeah.
Yeah. So out of the box with Sitecore, Sitecore does integrate with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Salesforce CRM. There's a two-way sync of your behavior and profile data, and then also Microsoft Dynamics. There is also a SharePoint Connect tool that can basically get data from your SharePoint list and libraries into Sitecore. So those are some of the out-of-the-box tools. There are a lot of third-party tools on the market, including some that we offer. So basically, we offer a lot of connectors with different marketing automation platforms. So this includes Marketo, Eloqua, uh, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and Pardot. Um, I think we also have Future and Interaction. So basically, we pass profile and behavior data back and forth between Sitecore and these marketing automation tools, as well as also pass through form submits from these tools. So that's a high level. And then there's basically a ton of things that you can get from with XConnect you can use to basically connect any two things with each other with Sitecore.
Great, 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 great. Long answer there. I think next question. I use Lucene today. How can I get solar search? Can I want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So you do have to upgrade to Solar or Azure Search as part of the upgrade. The good news is it's not Solar is free. You just you can just install it and just ensure that that things work. Our upgrade tool automatically switches your assemblies from Lucene to Solar. But if you wanted to do an in-place upgrade, you would have to just make sure if you are using your search assemblies anywhere specifically that you go through and change those over to Lucene or to Solar. I'm sorry. But in terms of Sitecore itself, that will automatically switch for you once you use Sitecore 9.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, outside of solar, are there any other options, Jenna? Just question from my end.
Yeah, I mean, Coveo is a great option if you're looking for basically a higher end product. The good news with Coveo is it's modular and it's drag and drop. Um, and it also has things like AI and machine learning that are built into the search. And then Azure Search is the other option.
Got it, got it. Wonderful. Another question. Will the
Um,
recording of this? Yeah, sorry, Jenna.
Sorry, Akhil, I just wanted to also add, you can really use any search appliance, to be honest. We've had clients use Google Search Appliance, etc. It's just a matter of coding that appliance for your content delivery site. For content management, you have Solar or Azure. Those are your options.
Perfect, perfect. Question, will the recording of this presentation be shared with participants? Yes, of course. Will. So within next couple of days, Mel from our marketing team, he'll share the recording. All of you, another question. What is the advantage of using Sitecore Experience Editor? Great. So,
Um,
yeah, Jenna, go
Go
ahead. Go
ahead,
ahead.
Akhil. No. Go ahead. You
No,
take
I
this
was
one.
just saying, experience editor, it's all about content authoring. So, all of us as content authors, if you have not used experience editor, you'll have to really take the painful way of editing content. Experience editor is almost like you edit it and then you see it how it's going to look after editing. So it's one single screen, you edit it there as if you're editing within that page. So it makes really the task a lot easier for your content editors and authors. So yeah, Jenna, you can add on top of it. I know there are a lot of more
Yeah,
details around it. Hmm.
no, you perfectly phrased it, Akhil. It's in context editing. So you're basically editing a page while looking at what the page looks like as the final product, right? So you have the ability to edit content and see how it will appear on the page if you do it in Experience Editor. If you do it in Content Editor, you're doing it behind the scenes. You do have to figure out where the content might be placed in Content Editor, whereas in Experience Editor, it's on the page so you can see exactly where it is. And you can actually see how it looks when you're editing it in Experience Editor. And with SXA, you have the ability to drag and drop an Experience Editor as well, which is an additional functionality with the components that are provided to you.
Perfect. Yeah, that's probably one utility I have seen which makes the life easier. Rest everything
Yeah.
is like icing on the cake, but this is like the recipe for the cake, right? So if you're not using it, you're like missing the taste of the cake.
Yeah, and
I love cake. I know.
some things are a lot easier to do in Experience Editor. Like I don't go into Content Editor to do personalization, for example. Personalization is just a lot easier to do in Experience Editor, and you can see the different versions of the content in Experience Editor as well.
Right. I'll just take one last question. It comes regarding headless. Say, can you elaborate more on headless? Bit long answer I can expect, Jenna. I know you have done a ton of work around it. Can you summarize headless as a concept in next 3 minutes? That's the challenge for
Sure.
you.
Yeah, sure. So headless is basically the ability to expose Sitecore from something that's not Sitecore, right? So if you wanted to show content that you're editing in Sitecore in a mobile app or IoT device, or even a separate website for that matter, headless is a great option for that. There are many different flavors of headless. The one that's getting popular today is JSS. So basically, what that is that you use Angular or Vue or React JavaScript to basically get Sitecore content or Sitecore, not just content, but the layout and personalization and everything into a non-Sitecore site and have a two-way sync between the two. So when you edit content in your Sitecore site, it will automatically appear in your non-Sitecore site. And if you wanted to change up the CSS, etc., in your non-Sitecore site, it'll appear back in Experience Editor for you to see. What this allows is basically the ability for your JavaScript and CSS developers, your front end developers, to create the websites knowing very little about Sitecore. They really don't need to know about Sitecore at all now because it's completely decoupled from the back end of Sitecore.
Amazing, amazing. Summarize such a complex affair in 2 minutes. Heads off. Well, with that, I think we should conclude the webinar today. We are out of time. I know we have few more questions. What we'll do, we'll answer them offline outside of the webinar one by one. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming today and hearing to us. In case you have got any further questions, just feel free to reach out to us. You have email ID from Mel, and both Jenna and I are available both through our emails as well as LinkedIn. So yeah, look forward to hearing back from all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Jenna.
you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.